Hello, my friends. Have you been thinking about the PMP exam and the relevance of earned value? Well, look no further. In the next 5 minutes, I'll show you what exactly you need to know in 2022 for the exam. Now, earned value has a number of formulas in this book you probably know all too well, page 267, but you do not need to cram everything in page 267. Instead, what you need to do is master 4 formulas. I'm going to show you these formulas real quick. Here's a table that summarizes what you need to know. You need to know schedule performance index, cost performance index, schedule variance, and cost variance. Note, they all start with earned value. I say earned value is king. It comes first. When we're dealing with an index, we divide, as you can see here. When we're dealing with variances, we subtract, as you can see there. When we're dealing with planned value, we're dealing with the schedule. When we're dealing with planned value, we're dealing with the schedule. When we're dealing with actual cost, we're dealing with the cost. When we're dealing with actual cost, we're dealing with the cost. And that helps you know what goes where. I call this someone else's problem. I call this children eat a lot. Someone else's problem, children eat a lot. If you put those together, it makes a ready mnemonic for you to remember what is what. Now, if you take a look here, what we have is when you think about the schedule, think about the plan. When you think about actual cost, think about the cost. When you think about the schedule, think about the plan. When you think about actual cost, think about the cost. Over here, we have what exactly these things mean. So schedule performance index means you are judging your schedule performance based on an index. And if it's equal to 1, you're on target. If it's less than 1, you're behind. If it's greater than 1, you're ahead. The cost performance index is an index for judging cost performance. If it's equal to 1 on target, less than 1, you're over budget, greater than 1, you're under budget. So here's a summary. For the indices, anything that has an I, schedule performance index, cost performance index, if it is equal to 1, you are right on target, right on budget. If it's greater than 1, take a look. Greater than 1 tells you it's a good performance in that you're under budget. Now, I know it sounds counter. Under sounds negative, but in case of cost, it's good. You want to be under budget. In case of schedule, greater than 1, you're ahead. So just remember, equals 1 on target, greater than 1, favorable, less than 1, unfavorable, under most circumstances. For the variances, the schedule variance and the cost variance, it's the opposite. We're dealing with 0, not 1. Greater than 0 is good because that's positive. You see that? Greater than 0, under budget. Greater than 0, ahead of schedule. Less than 0, behind schedule. And less than 0, you're over budget because that means it's negative. So you need to also put that negative spin on it. And equal to 0, you're on target in both cases. If you master this, and you might want to take a screenshot real quick, get this down into your subconscious, understand it, and you'll be good for a number of questions that you face. Now, here's a quick one for you. What does this mean? 0.5 SPI, $5 CV, SV minus 50, CPI 1.01, SPI 3.09, and CPI 0.65. What do all of these mean? Fill in the blanks really quickly. I'll give you a few seconds. Think about it. We'll go through them one by one. 3, 2, 1. Anything that is less than 1 in the indices is bad. Equal to 1 on target. So this is bad. This is good. This is suspicious because it's far greater than 1. That means you're getting 3.09 times the amount of work you promised to get done. You are getting done. That's concerning. Why did you promise what you did if you could do much more? That's what management will ask you. And the last one, this is bad cost performance. So what do these mean in numbers? This means that instead of getting $1 worth of work done, you only got 50 cents of work done. This one means that instead of you spending 65 cents for the work, you spent $1. In other words, you spent $1, but you only got 65 cents out of it, if that makes sense. You got 65 cents of work out of $1. This means instead of you getting $1 of work done, you got $3.09 worth of work done, and so on and so forth. This means you are behind schedule by $50, which means there's $50 amount of work for you to get done to catch up. And this means this is actually good, you are under budget by $5. So you spent $5 less than you said you would. So that is how you think about these numbers. Now, the final thing I want to show you about the exam, could you get something like this? It's possible. You could get something like a graph, earned value graph. The bottom line is this: earned value is king. You always want your earned value to be above. If your earned value is under planned value, it's unfavorable to schedule. If your earned value is above actual cost, that is actually favorable to cost. So in this case, you can see you are under, or you are behind, I should say, schedule, that's the right word, behind schedule, and you are under budget. You got to reverse it. It's tricky. Under budget is good. Over budget is bad. Over budget means EV is down here. So what does this mean? Let's take a look at it one more time. From a schedule perspective, you are behind schedule. That's bad. From a budget perspective, you are under budget. That's good. So do you see your suggestion or your idea over here? Whatever you think the answer is, you are what? Behind schedule. Do you see that there? It's that. And do you see under budget, and it would be those two: behind schedule and under budget. Okay, so that's one problem. Let's take a look at one more and we'll be done for the day. What is the status of the project at Q2? You got to look at Q2. And they're pretty much all the same across the quarters. So earned value in this case, we can see, is on top of the other two. So this is favorable in terms of schedule, which means we are ahead of schedule and we are still under budget. You got to reverse it, remember? So let's see. We are ahead of schedule, which is D, and we are under budget, which is C. And that is how you will tackle these problems, my friends. So I hope you found this to be useful. Everything else that you do for earned value, such as the TCPI formula and so on, I would discourage it. And let me call them out by name just to make sure you don't go off on a rabbit trail. This one of the suspects, don't do this one. You're not going to need it. Don't waste your time. This one, don't do it. Waste of time. No one's seen this for eons. This one, EAC, don't waste your time on this. I highly recommend you don't read it. Now, this one is common sense, okay? This one, you should understand how it works. And how it works is, if you're working on a project and you've spent X number of dollars, this is how many dollars in total, or how much money in total you will spend at the end of the project when all is said and done. If you've already spent this amount, then the total amount you spend is going to be the estimate to complete, which is the amount left to spend. This is the amount left to spend. If you add what you've spent to the amount left to spend, then of course you're going to get the total estimate at completion. That's it. That's a summary. But even this is just common sense. I'm sure you could get this right on the test, even if you didn't know about EAC, just thinking about the logic of the numbers. All right. If you have any questions about this exam, the EAC, or anything else, drop it in the comments below. Okay. Thank you very much for joining me. I wish you all the very best on your exam. Don't forget, I've got a podcast. It's called the PMP Exam Radio Show. Just go to pmradio.org and tune in each week. Take care. Bye for now.